welcome back to Dirt Rally 2. And we can all agree that this Lancia Stratos is quite at home on dirt, despite its appearances. And while it may be very good on the dirt, it's even better on the tarmac. And that got me thinking, what if, instead of having, you see, I've been wanting to do a showdown between the different rally classes for a very long time, but I wanted to get a little more proficient in the game, and instead of going with the typical dirt stage, I decided to go with a full tarmac stage. Now, yes, does that mean the four-wheel drive cars are not going to be used, or not going to be as effective? Yes, what it does is levels the playing field just a little bit more for the rear-wheel drive vehicles. Because the all-wheel drive will still have better acceleration, but the rear-wheel drive will not be completely left in the dust, and it might have a bit more of a chance. And the stage that I set on this would be in Spain, the only all tarmac we had, nice smooth tarmac, a mixture of flowing corners and high-speed corners. And yeah, then I took one car from each classification of rallying around a very mixed high-speed and low-speed turn tarmac stage. Starting off with one of the stranger choices that I absolutely love, the Citroen DS. I didn't know this was a rally car, and it's in the game, which is brilliant. I love it. And I didn't expect it to be quite as sideways. This is from the early 60s, has less than 120 horsepower, and it is just the hilarious, most sideways boat you will ever see in your life, pretty much. It just wants to go sideways everywhere, pretty much. And once you get the power down, it doesn't exactly move, but it does go sideways. And look at the body roll. Yes, it is a very welcome addition, because you don't see this car in very many racing games. You don't see in very many games full stock. So seeing a Citroen DS in a rally game is a very welcoming sight, and I had to have a go with it. Were there better options? Probably. I probably could have picked the Escort or the Stratos, but I wanted a... I could have gone with the Fulvia too, but it was a very close call between this and the Fulvia. But I decided to go with this purely because you don't see it in very many games, and it would be curious to see a Citroen, and I wanted to have one manufacturer only, so one Audi, one Peugeot, you know, that type of stuff. And Citroen isn't represented, so I went Citroen we go. And you can see that we have now entered the very technical section of the stage. We had the high speed bit, and now we have the corners. We do have a few straights, but all in all, it is very technical. And once again, we get the Citroen even more sideways. It's very tricky. That barrier there nearly claimed a lot of lives. I actually didn't claim a single crash on that very close call. It's like, oh, we get it sideways, and more sideways. I clipped the wall. It's not too serious. I didn't lose any time though, so I will take it. Yeah. Now, disclaimer. I am very inexperienced with rally games, hence why I've taken so long to upload this video, because I just had to get a little bit more experience. I only do so much. And you can see, even with this, I'm all over the road, and I'm just about keeping these cars on the course. So, disclaimer, can a professional carry these cars much better around the corners than I can? Yes. Will the order be slightly different in the hands of a top-notch professional? Yes. But I still think it's a good overall comparison, primarily not just on the car's handling, but on how easy is it to control. Because if it's easy to control, I can push harder, I can go get a better lap time. If it's not easy to control, I have to be a little cautious, and I won't get the best stage time possible. So it's a nice balance between that, and of course the tarmac evening out the playing field between front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive, as we go across the line for the Citroen. Up next is an Opel, the Opel Kadett. This is another iconic rally car. I'm not sure if it won a championship or not. What I do know is it's even more sideways than the Citroen. Rear-wheel drive, this one, and very tiny tires apparently, because it does not have very much power. I think it has less than 200 horsepower, and it doesn't really matter. It is absolutely sideways everywhere, you know? Just sideways machine. keeping on the road without going sideways was a very difficult challenge. You can see it is quite a spectacle. Quite a spectacle, for sure. And its proper rally car sideways is best, but yeah, as a time, it's not ideal to go sideways. You don't really want to. So I try not to. It is very fun, but I tried to not go sideways too much. And it didn't really matter for this, because it was kind of sideways no matter what you did. Also, the four-wheel drift. And of course, our one long straightaway heading into a sharp hander, heading into the tight, twisty bits. I don't know what's going on with the cockpit cameras. They're kind of like slow FPS, like lagging almost. But whatever. Focus on the car. The car is beautiful. I love the Cadet. It's just enough sideways. You can see how close I'm getting in that barrier. It's just enough sideways to be entertaining, but not enough to cause you undrivable conditions. So I'm still able to push relatively hard with this car, and that's what I like. Having a car that's fun, so sideways, but also when you don't want it to go sideways, it's able to be relatively, you know, temperamental, mild-mannered, shall we say. And this is pretty darn good. Granted, still a crazy sideways McGee, but all in all, not too shabby of a car. And of course, I don't know who designed the Spanish roads, but I hate you. You are the stupidest person imaginable for having roads this small that are dual carriageway. And yeah, it was tight. Selling a small car like this one was a blessing. But one more very sideways corner to go, and we are across the line for the Opel. Our next car is another rear-wheel drive one, this being the Datsun 240SX. This was even more powerful than the Opel and even faster, meaning yes, it's more sideways. Although I try not to, as I said earlier, it's not really an option sometimes. You kind of just turning it and the back end, let's go. Sometimes it is beneficial, but most of the time you don't want it. Especially on this tarmac, because you're just wasting time at that point. But as you can see here, maybe I'm pushing a little bit too hard into a corner, I just kick the back end out, and it helps me turn. So that is a useful point sometimes. But yeah, this is very sideways in the Nissan, or Datsun, however you want to prefer it. A little bit of a wall tap if you so care. And it was faster in a straight line, but it does mean you can run wide. And I'm very thankful there's a barrier there, or I'll go off the track so many times. Just so many times I would go off the track. But another solid car. Very big slide. That's another very tricky corner because it's a right-hander immediately into a left after a high-speed braking zone. So you really gotta get that right. It's very fast-flowing, almost 90-degree chicane, really. So it's a nice, tricky stage. I really like it. And if you get it right, it's amazing. If you get it wrong, you have a very big accident because the barriers, most of them have a little slant when you enter them, where it becomes a barrier, meaning it acts as a split ramp. And you launch your car into the air, and you go for many spectacular rolls. In practice, there were quite a lot of those. I practiced like a day probably with each car. Probably a day with each car, which was a lot of work because I suck at this game. So I spent a lot of time practicing to make sure I get the best possible run I physically could. And yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was very fun because it's very rewarding seeing your car struggle, and then you get that perfect run through the corner. It's very good, and so is this Nissan. That was a perfect example of it. Good hairpin, one last corner to go. We are across the line. Now, the big, the bad, the B, the Audi Quattro Group B. One of the most powerful, legendary rally classes ever conceived by man. And that's a problem for me. You see, I struggle with the normal rally cars, and this is not a normal rally car. This is the fastest, most powerful, most insane rally class ever devised in the history of mankind. Meaning I struggle. Remember that point I was mentioning with the Citroen about drivability? This is past my realm of drivability, I will be honest. I cannot drive Group B cars at any speed, pretty much. It just recalibrates your senses, and it's a sensory assault to the 5th degree. You can see just how fast the Quattro is. However, it's still a 1980s rally car, meaning it's not that advanced when it comes to the tech for the modern era, so the handling is a little bit iffy sometimes. But the speed, oh my god, the speed. They are not kidding when it says Formula 1 for the Forest. And I feel like I let the Quattro down because it's one of my personal favorite rally cars of all time. And I just couldn't get speed, and I kept crashing. I think I crashed at least 50 times with this car, probably. During testing, during practicing. You can see, even at the very beginning of the run, I was having difficulties with oversteer. It was one hell of a challenge, getting this car around the course without crashing. And a more experienced driver could get a much faster lap, but for me, with a Group B car, completing the course without utterly destroying it is the highlight of this video for me. It is the personal highlight, because it's so hard driving these cars, even on tarmac. I can only imagine on dirt how difficult it would be to keep up 3 corners ahead. You're not thinking fast enough with this car. But if you get it right, it is very fast, and I got it okay. I got it okay. Not right, not wrong. I got it okay. So, yeah, is there more time? A lot more time could be had in this vehicle, but not with my skill. So the Audi Quattro goes across the line very spectacularly. This is our last front-wheel drive car, the Peugeot 208 GTI. This has less than 200 horsepower, but it's from 2010, meaning it has a lot of handling, a lot of grip. And that means I had a ton of confidence to push as hard as I theoretically could. Admittedly, that's not very hard with a car with this much grip and this little power. But still, it was fast. It was a fun car to drive. I got very close on this one. I clipped the wall, actually. I was pushing so hard. I don't know how that didn't wreck my car, but it didn't do anything, and it hardly cost me 1/10 of a second. So I kept going. And you can go flat out basically everywhere in this opening section. It's scary, because you're going sideways a fair bit, but you can do it. And then I had to take to the grass a little bit, but there we go. We kept on the track just about. We didn't have a crash, which is surprising. And yeah. This is the exact opposite of the Quattro. Tons of handling, tons of controllability, no power whatsoever. So it balanced each other out surprisingly well, considering I drove the Quattro and then this. It was quite a jump down, I should say. And yeah, words cannot describe how much of an improvement this is over the Quattro. It was nice. It was very nice. And if I was to enter rallying, this is probably the vehicle I'd want, because it's just so much grip, so little speed, that you can go flat out everywhere, or lift off everywhere. And it's just so fun, flowing from one corner to the other, just swaying back and forth. You turn in for one corner, you're on the apex of the next, and you just have the handling to do that. It's like music. Left, right, 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 left, sweeping, never stopping, turning, acceleration zone, turn, lift off. It's perfect. It's how I want a rally car to drive. As we go across the line for the Peugeot. Now, we move on to the all-wheel drive car, starting off with the most successful rally car of all time. the Lancia Delta Integrale. It is a legend. 6 manufacturer championships, 5 driver championships, more wins than any other car on Earth at rallying. It won the championship for manufacturers 6 times in a row, and it gave Lancia the title of the most successful rally manufacturer ever, a title they will guaranteedly hold until 2021, provided Citroën wins every single championship for the next 2 years. That's absurd. And you can see why. It's fast, it's all-wheel drive, it's got 300 horsepower, and most importantly of all, it has the traction and the handling to go with it. It's a Group B rally car that can turn. And that's why it's perfect. It really is one of the best rally cars, if not the best rally car of all time. Once again, getting very close to that crash barrier, and then getting even closer to that one. Yeah, good job, me. You can see, still a little rusty with the old rally cars on this circuit. And yeah, sliding it around, even with the all-wheel drive, it's a very easy thing to do, and sometimes beneficial, and sometimes helps you carry corner speed. But this is how I hoped the Quattro would have driven. Because it's the second most powerful car we have today, short of the Quattro. But it has the aerodynamics of the Group B cars, pretty much, with the exception of the front end having less aero. So, you can see why it really was the best rally car, not of its era, but of all time. And it shows, oh it shows, as the Delta goes across the line sideways. No, your eyes do not deceive you. This is indeed a Skoda Fabia. When I saw this was a Skoda in the game, I had to have it. I had to have the Skoda. And this is the highest class of car we have in the game, the R5s. Where this is basically the little brother to the proper WRC cars, which we can't have because they are exclusively licensed to their own WRC game. So this is the fastest that we got, and it's fast. It's, like I said, it's similar to the Lancia in the sense that it's a all-wheel drive Group B-esque car that has Group B acceleration, but handling to go with it. Modern day technology, modern day aero, modern day brakes and suspension and light weights. So, it's the proper best compromise we have, and it's good. The Skoda is very good indeed. And I love it. First, I love that Skoda is in the game because no one ever uses Skodas in racing games for some reason, which is a shame. And second, I love that it's actually quite good to drive. Like, surprisingly good to drive. Who would have ever thought that with a big sideways moment heading around the double apex? Again, not cutting it quite as close, but cutting it close to the rock wall. You don't want to hit that rock wall. The rock wall is a lethal thing because they jut out. So if you hit one, it kind of just stops you dead. And that's very painful. So you gotta be absolutely perfect, and I felt a lot more composed with this car than with the Quattro. You can see me pushing a lot harder with this car. So, think of this as a run with a professional driving the Quattro instead of me driving an amateur with a R5 car. So, think of it like that. And, oh, I love it. It's probably my favorite car to drive. It's very close between this and the Lancia. Both legendary manufacturers, and both very fast and very easy to drive. So, yeah, the R5, it's very good as you go across the line. Now, this is a surprising class I did not expect. The RGT class, and it's basically Grand Tours, or GT cars, racing on rally spec. Like this Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Yeah, who knew? V8 rally car. I love it. I just love the fact that there's an Aston Martin rally car. I would love to have the Jaguar rally car do a proper head-to-head with these, but there you go. I do a little bit of a clip on the wall, it's fine, I didn't lose any time really. And this is where the Rally GT really comes into its own. This speed, the like 500 horsepower they have, combined with the rear-wheel drive and the fact they're a GT car already. One problem though. They're very, very heavy. I mean, scarily heavy. They're by far and away the heaviest car here, the Aston Martin, which makes sense because it's a massive V8 Aston Martin that someone decided to go rallying with. By the way, applause to you. Good starting applause are in order for deciding to rally a V8 Vantage. So, it's mental. I just love the fact it's in the game. Because this is actually based on a real car. There are a few fictional cars I don't think are actually competing, like the Mustang GT4 and the Camaro GT4. But this is actually competing in the RGT class along with the Porsche 911, the Fiat 124, and the Lotus Elise. So just seeing this in a rally game is hilarious, because you never expect a rallying Aston Martin. But, there you go. Ta-da! And it's nice handling, I like how it handles. It is a bit big, in fact it's very big, and it feels that way. But, unlike the Porsche of death, it is controllable, it's nice to fun slide around in, has traction, and I love it. I wouldn't have a rear-wheel drive rally car Aston Martin anyway. It's a very niche category, but I wouldn't have it any other way. One more corner to go with the Aston Martin to go across the line. This is our final car, the Subaru WRX NR4 class. Which looks like it went off already, but nope, it's still good. It was very sideways. This was the, I don't actually know what class. I think this is the National Rally class for America, but I'm not sure. Point is, it was very sideways. The Subaru loved going sideways. It loved being chucked around. And I had to include the Subaru. I wanted to include Colin McRae's, in Legacy, I think it was? The Legacy? Or is it the Impreza? I don't remember. I think it might be the Legacy. In 1995. And I opted for this one because the Lancia Delta was already in that class, and I had to use the Lancia Delta because most iconic rally car of all time. But Subaru is right up there with it as one of the most legendary rally manufacturers will ever. Asked to draw a rally car, they will draw you a Subaru Impreza. And this is the latest iteration of it competing in national rallies. Sadly, it's not on the World Rally Championship. It should be. I don't know why they're not. They kind of gave up on it after the 2008 recession, and they haven't gone back to it since. But they've done better things, like, you know, raced down a bobsled run. They raced the Trans-Targaryen Highway, I Was a Man, and national rally. So, you know what? You take what you can get, really. You take what you can get, and you don't complain. Same thing with this car, in fact. Very good handling. Not the fastest in a straight line because of the sheer lack of power. Ignore that, that didn't happen. Shh. Keep left into 2 right long. Never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's a good car to drive. It's kind of similar to the R5, but a bit slower. Not quite as fast on accelerating because it's a bit heavy. It's almost 3,000 pounds. So, just a few more corners to go with the very sideways Subaru. I tried to do a sweet hairpin. It actually kind of worked. I was very impressed with that corner. So you go across the line-ish. And here you can see the final times. The Lancia Delta will claim first with a 2:20.7, followed up pretty close by, just 0.2 of a second faster than the modern day version, the R5. The Skoda. Subaru in third, 5 seconds down the road. That's quite a big margin. Now the real interesting one, the Audi Quattro, Group B car, gets beat by the front-wheel drive 208. That, my friends, is the definition of speed versus controllability. The 205 was just better handling than I had more confidence in it. So I could push it harder, and I got a better lap time. Not by very much, 0.2 of a second again, but very impressive. Same thing, equally impressive with the Cadet beating the Nissan by, again, 2 seconds. I was very surprised by that, because the Cadet is less powerful and the same drivetrain. So I thought the Nissan would be faster, but no. It's 2 seconds slower. And then we have the Citroen, which never really stood a chance, but I want to include it just for the comparison's sake. And, you know, sub 3 minute is not too shabby for a car from 1960-something, I think. Not too bad, but the Lancia, I mean, if you're going to be the best rally car of all time, it makes sense being the fastest on our timed lap. So, there you go. That's going to be it for this episode of Dirt Rally 2.0. I'll be back with more.